Hello, this is episode 17 of the Oversubscribe Challenge podcast. And let me just say something that might sound uncomfortable to you right now. If you are a brand and you really want to scale your brand, all right, you need to actually hear this. What I want to say is that many times, especially if you are good at content creation, especially if your business has enough visibility, your problem might not necessarily be a traffic problem. All right, you don't have a traffic problem if you are not selling. What you have is a conversion problem. And I've seen this over and over again. Skincare founders or other brand owners will be saying, I need more traffic. I need more people to see my brand. Whereas they have plenty traffic. They have website impression is great. People are coming to their website. People are watching their content, but they're not making sales. So they think if I can just increase my reach, maybe my sales will grow. But the question many people avoid to ask themselves, which I'm going to ask you right now, is if you already have a traffic and the traffic is not converting, then you need to ask yourself what's happening with the traffic you already have. You're running ad campaign, you are using your ads, you are creating content, people are watching your videos, they are seeing your content on social media, they are even clicking your links, right? And they are visiting your page. But now all of that is not translating into sales, right? People are not buying. So that means what you need is not more traffic because more traffic is not the solution. You already have traffic, but it's not converting. So the problem is not the traffic, the problem is the conversion. More traffic is just going to make the problem more expensive. All right, you have 100 people come to your page, nobody buys. 200 people come to your page, nobody buys. If you spend money on traffic, you keep incurring expenditure, and because you've not cured the real problem, still nobody would buy. So you want to ensure that you treat the core problem. All right. And I don't blame you if you think that you actually have a traffic problem, because there's something called the illusion of traffic, right? As a business owner, having traffic feels like progress. When you see more clicks, when you see more views on your content, when you see more clicks on your ads, when your ad has engagement, when your content has more engagement, you like the comment, all of those things, it feels like your brand is growing, right? But traffic without conversion is misleading. In fact, it can be very frustrating. I understand how it feels, all right, because I've experienced it. Also, it's good to have attention. It's good to have traffic. Does not equate revenue, all right. So you can have the 10,000 views, you can have visibility, you can have 1,000 clicks, and there is a chance that you might still struggle to make sales. And that's exactly where many brands, including skincare brands, are stuck. They're generating attention, they're creating content that may even go viral, but they are not converting it into revenue. And I'm going to break that down today, right? So that you can actually see how to fix the problem in your conversion. So let's say someone sees your ad, they click, and then they land on your page. Then what happens next? Do they understand who that page is for? Who the content, the copy on your landing page, who it is for, whether it's a lead generation page or a sales page, that's copy, the offer, whatever is on the page, whether it is for them or for somebody else. Do they understand what problems it actually solves? All right. Does the landing page copy clearly explain what problem people would get solved if they read through the landing page and then if they take action? And does the landing page, whenever they click your ad and they come on your page, do they understand why they should buy now? Or do they start guessing? Or do they wonder, it's not a big deal if I don't buy now, maybe I can still buy in the next 1 month or the next 2 months? All right, because the moment someone has to figure things out by themselves, when they don't really get the crux of the message, they don't really understand where this landing page is leading to. All right, so and they have to figure these things out by themselves, you've already lost them, and they most likely will not come back because you're not the only person that is marketing to this audience. Many brands are calling for their attention. So that means you're not just going to leverage attention, you want to turn that attention into action, which most likely is buying your offer. All right. Many people lose sales at the point where the attention does not translate to understanding what the landing page is talking about. If you don't understand that, then you've lost people. That's where you've lost sales. So the number one reason why you lose sales is that your conversion entry point, which is from your ad to the landing page is confusing instead of explanatory. It's confusing people. It's getting people to bounce off your landing page because it now looks as though they don't really know why they're on your landing page again. Not because they're not interested in your product, not because they don't want to buy, but because your offer is not clear. And because the offer is not clear, the trust is also not strong. You're not communicating with them as though you really feel their pain, as though you really understand the desire they actually have and the outcome they want to achieve. All right. And because of that, of course, the next step would not be obvious. So this is the real problem. And this is why people leave. The brand owner will say, oh, they're coming to this landing page, but they've not bought. Let us run more ads. Like I said, the more ads, more traffic would not solve the problem. You have to deal with the root cause of the problem and solve it there. Right. And this is where it becomes more dangerous, especially if you ignore conversion and you focus more on just ads. And your focus on ads is not actually the end result, which is conversion to sell, but your focus on ads is just to generate traffic, where you ignore the real reason why you're running ad, which is converting people from just traffic into leads and into customers. Especially if you ignore that, you start spending more money to solve the wrong problem. Remember, the problem in this case is not that people are not coming to your landing page. The problem is there is a mismatch between the communication on the ad and on the landing page, and therefore, even if the communication is the same, the copy on landing page, the offer, everything there is not compelling people, is not persuading people, is not driving people to actually feel like they identify with what you are trying to sell to them and they should buy, even if they don't have the money. If you don't achieve that, then you're going to keep wasting money running ads. You might increase your ad budget, you might hire influencers, you might push more content, but nothing would really change. Why? Because you are pouring more traffic into a system that doesn't convert. It's like pouring water into baskets. It doesn't matter how much you really want to have water, right? As long as the water is being poured into baskets, you're going to keep losing the water and you're not going to get water remaining in the basket. All right. Pouring more water will not solve the problem. The problem is that you have to get something instead of a basket, which you keep leaking water. You have to get a good container to hold the water. So that's the same thing about traffic when the problem is the conversion system. All right. So you're not just going to be missing sales, you're going to be losing money in getting those traffic because the traffic is taking money away from you, but it is not returning money back to your business. And every click that doesn't convert equals to lost opportunity, it equals to wasted attention, it equals to delayed growth. And of course, except you have unlimited money somewhere, if care is not taken, your business may end up folding up. So you don't want that to happen. And many brands don't really realize this. So your first step is to understand what actually makes conversion happen, what actually drives conversion in your business. If you focus on this, then you can now send more traffic once your initial traffic is already converting. All right, so you have to fix the conversion problem. So let me now address that right now. Your conversion depends on few critical things. Number one is clarity. As you will have noticed when I was talking about the landing page, the copy on your landing page must be clear. When people land on your page, they must immediately understand what the product does, who the product is for. All right, who is supposed to buy the product, whose pain is the product solving, whose desire is the product achieving. All right, and the landing page must let your audience know what results to expect. It's not enough for the landing page to be solving problem. Okay, what level of results? How good would the results be? How would the results change their life? And how would that change affect their life? People must get to your landing page and find clarity on your page. Number two, of what makes your conversion strong and what makes your conversion good enough to actually turn traffic into customers is the strength of your offer. Your offer must be irresistible. Let me repeat that again. Your offer must be irresistible. The offer is not just the pricing. Don't just increase price and expect, oh, if I increase price, people will think my business is premium. Therefore, they will just rush me and buy. No, the offer is not the price. The offer is the benefits of the benefits of the benefits of what the product actually does. Your offer is how you package and present the products to your audience. Your offer is the perceived value. not just the intrinsic value. Yeah, this product does this. That's the intrinsic value. But how will your audience be perceived if they use your product? That is the offer. All right. It is the perceived value that changes everything. So the strength of that is what I'm talking about when I say offer strength. All right. If a lady wants to do weight loss, the offer can be come to gym and different benefits attached to come to the gym. That's awesome. All right. Maybe to take 3 months for her to be seen considering change. That's great. The offer can be liposuction. In 1 hour, you already have weight loss. Which one do you think would generate more revenue? Or which one do you think the lady will be willing to pay more for? The one that will take 3 months for her to see results, or the one that will take just 1 hour, she's seeing the results? Of course, it's no brainer. People would pay more for surgery for liposuction than for fitness. All right. So that's what I'm trying to discuss here. What is the strength of the perceived value of your offer, of your product? So you must realize that you are not just selling a product, all right? You are presenting a reason for your audience to actually act now. So if your offer is weak, even interested people, they would not buy because they're not sure if you are the real deal. So one is clarity, the second is the offer strength, and of course the third is the trust. When people land on your landing page, do they immediately begin to trust your brand? When they see your content on social media, do they immediately begin to trust your brand? So your brand must cultivate trust with your audience. And as a business owner, especially the skincare business owner, that is personal because you are invading in people's privacy. As a skincare, you are helping them shaping their esteem. All right, and people are careful. You don't sell nonsense product for them that instead of helping their body, it will instead damage their body. No, for people to actually trust your brand to buy your skincare products, your product or your marketing must have cultivated a level of trust with your audience. So if your audience don't trust your brand, if they don't trust your products, if they don't trust your claims, automatically you already know what would happen. They're not going to risk buying the product. So every time you are running your marketing campaign, every time you are creating your marketing content, trust is one thing that must be behind the back of your head for what you want the content to achieve, for what you want the landing page to achieve, for what you want the ad to achieve. You should not run ad that make people think this person is scammer. No, your ad should actually engineer trust with your brand. All right. The number 4 things I think you should do to solve the conversion problem is what I call structure. And that's the biggest one. So you must have a path from how people enter your conversion system and how they would go out as customers. Last week, we talked about the first step you should take, all right, in building the system and ensuring that people actually buy. And I talked about from attention into purchase. All right. Same thing. You must have a clear path that people will take from when they see your content to when they buy. So you can call it attention, interest or intent, and decision and purchase. In copywriting, they call it AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. So you must have everything that actually lead people towards that path, that structure. All right. You shouldn't just expect people to figure it out. All right. So for example, your content on social media, in most cases, they get people's attention. So when you've gotten their attention, what should you do next? Do you just wait? They will figure out what I'm selling. They will figure out and they'll just come and buy from me. No, a million times no. So you must plan it. What kind of content will get people's attention? When I get people's attention, what kind of content would elevate their interest in what I have to say? What kind of content would get them to actually desire to buy it now and actually buy it? So you must have content that leads people towards each part of their journey with your brand. So that's what I talk about, structure. People who sell out, they have structured business. All right, they don't just hope that they're going to make sales. They are doing everything to help the customer in his journey with their brand. So I'm going to make this more practical right now. Let's say you've created that structure of people's journey with your brand and how they're going to these are touch points with your brand. When you create that, then you build that system, then you begin to see your traffic turn into customers. And like I said, to make it more practical, you need to ask yourself right now, if 100 people visit your page today, how many will buy? How many? If you don't know how many would buy, then there's already a problem. It means you have not created a structure to actually understand, okay, when 100 people come to my page, most likely 2 people would buy. So that means if I double the traffic, then I'm going to double the sales from 2 to 4. All right. That's because you have watched how your business runs. If 100 people come to your DM, likely more than 2 would buy, or more than 5, or more than 10, whatever is your data. Right. So these people would buy. But if you don't have a clue about how this thing works, how revenue comes into the brand, the next project, if you don't have any clue, then that's already a problem. But let's say you have a clue and then the number is low. 100 people comes to your landing page, only 2 would buy. Then you understand that the real bottleneck is working more on the conversion, so that you don't just have 2% conversion. You want to increase the conversion rate, maybe to 10%, to 15%, to 20%. You want to do that, all right? And until you fix that, scaling the traffic will not fix your revenue, because there's no point trying to fix it when you know that the bottleneck is in the conversion. Only 2 people are buying out of every 100 visits. So I need to do something to ensure that maybe 10 people buy out of 100, or 20 out of 100, or 50 out of 100. You must do something to ensure that. If you don't do that, sending more traffic would only increase your revenue a little, because 2%, so that means with 200, 2% is 4 people. How can 4 people buy out of 200? So you want to make sure that you are actually doing your math very well. You are actually trying to scale the right way. You must make sure that you actually building structure that guides people intention into actual sales. And let's go to connecting to this C-skin system. I talked about that in the last episode, all right? And I have a landing page dedicated specifically for that. So you can go to pmi.ng/DLA. So I have a video I share out how to scale, especially using this framework. The framework is C-skin, C-S-K-I-N. So I'm going to just talk about that briefly again. Not knowing that is why many brands struggle. It's not because they are not trying, but because they are missing key parts of this C-skin framework. Like I said, the C is community. As a brand owner, you must endeavor to start building community. This is your safeguard that ensures that you only make money. So you have to build community, whether it is WhatsApp group, Telegram group, email list, even your social media followers. They are part of your community, but you must find a way to just make them understand that, okay, this is a community that I am in. Many people are following different brands, but they don't know that they are in a community. So you want to have a community. This is how you carve out your own market out of the broader market. This is what having a community will do. This community that will buy your product, they are the one that would advocate for your brand, especially if you treat them right. All right. So after the C is the S, that's segmentation. So you have to understand whether or not you are speaking to the right people. After the segmentation is K, that's killer offers. So you want to ask yourself, are you giving people a strong reason to actually buy? After the K is the I, which is intent funnels. All right, does a brand have funnels, or are you just sending people straight from the heart to the homepage of your website? It is good a little bit, but you're not going to get as much result as if you actually build funnel with the intention of selling the particular product. So you are building a funnel for a particular type of audience and a particular type of offer. Right, that's why I call it intent funnels. And then the N is what I call non-stop creatives. So you want to keep dishing out creatives. You're running your ad campaign because you want people to actually see a new ad about the same product, and another new ad about that same product, another new ad about that same product. You want to optimize. You want to scale. You don't want your cost per result to keep increasing and increasing. So you want to do different things. That's what I call non-stop creatives. Now, if any part of this C-skin system, any part is weak, then you already know what will happen. Conversion would drop. And when the conversion drops, then your growth will slow down. So let's go and discuss the shift right now. What is the shift? What is the thing that you should recognize that you should do? All right. So the shift is that instead of asking yourself, how do I get more traffic? You begin to ask, why is my current traffic not converting? Because the moment you fix that, then everything will change. Your ad starts performing better because now the traffic is actually being converted into customers. So your ad would automatically begin to perform better. Your content becomes more effective because this content is not just to get people's attention, it's to get them to actually act on the landing page. And because you've built the system already, your content becomes more effective and contributing to the sales. And then your revenue, of course, becomes predictable. You already know if I send 200 people to this landing page, this is the result. Then if I send 500 to the landing page, this is the result. If I send 1,000 to the landing page, this is the result. If I send 10,000 people in traffic to this landing page, you already know the result that you are going to get. And if you are just hearing about Primal Marketing Institute by watching this video, I want to let you know that what I have just explained is what we do to help many other skincare brands, to help them fix their problem. Not just skincare brands, any brand that you are running, we want to help you fix this problem, because it's not just about getting attention. Many people get the attention, but converting that attention into actual revenue, that is the main thing that you must ensure. Now, I've put together a free training. I talked about that earlier on. I've put together a free training where I can break this down step by step. In that training, you watch how we've spent 200 something K. That's around $200 or $250 if you're watching internationally. And we generated over 9.6 million naira, which is around $7,000. All right, that's we have spent from spending, let's say $250, we generated over $7,000 in revenue. And I broke down how I did that step by step. Right. And of course, part of those steps, I talked about how to identify what's hurting your conversion. I talked about the system itself, the CSKIN system. I talked about that. So you want to go and watch that free training. If you're serious about growing your skincare brand, or if you're not in skincare, you're in other industry, you're serious about growing your brand, you want to watch that video, that training immediately. So you should watch the training by going to pmi.ng/DLA. Again, pmi.ng/DLA. Go and watch that training right now. Because at the end of the day, traffic might bring people, but conversion is what brings revenue. Fix that first. And of course, as you know, scaling will become a lot easier once you fixed the conversion process. I hope you've learned something from today's episode 17. Watch out for the next episode of this oversubscribed challenge podcast. See you next week.